Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're journeying back in time, way back, to the very dawn of civilization. We're going to talk about a people so innovative, so foundational, that their legacy is still felt thousands of years later. We're talking about the Sumerians, the original trailblazers of human society. So, who exactly were the Sumerians? Imagine a land between two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, in what is now modern-day Iraq. This area, known as Mesopotamia, or the land between the rivers, was a fertile crescent of possibility. Around 4500 BCE, a group of people of unknown origin settled in the southern part of this land, a region they called Sumer. And from this sun-baked soil, they would cultivate not just crops, but the very seeds of civilization itself. They weren't a unified empire in the way we might think of the Romans or Egyptians. Instead, Sumer was a collection of powerful, independent city-states. Think of cities like Uruk, Ur, Lagash, and Eridu. Each was like its own mini-kingdom, with its own ruler, its own patron god, and its own towering temple, called a ziggurat, reaching for the heavens at the city's heart. These cities were bustling hubs of trade, religion, and innovation, often competing with each other for power and resources, but also sharing a common culture and language. Now, let's talk about why the Sumerians are such a big deal. You're watching this video, you can read, you check the time on your clock. Well, you can thank the Sumerians for laying the groundwork for all of it. One of their most monumental achievements was the invention of writing. Around 3500 BCE, they developed a system known as cuneiform. It started as simple pictures, or pictographs, to keep track of goods and trades. How many sheep? How much grain? But over time, it evolved into a complex system of wedge-shaped marks pressed into wet clay tablets. This wasn't just about accounting anymore. With cuneiform, they could record laws, write down epic poems like the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of humanity's first great works of literature, and document their history for future generations. For the first time ever, human knowledge could be permanently recorded and passed down. That's a game changer. But they didn't stop there. The Sumerians were incredible innovators in almost every field. Look at our cities today. Grid systems, massive buildings, complex infrastructure. The Sumerians were the first to build true cities on a grand scale. They developed advanced architectural techniques, including the arch and the dome, allowing them to construct those massive ziggurats and palaces that dominated their skylines. They were master engineers, creating intricate canal and irrigation systems that transformed the arid plains of Mesopotamia into a fertile breadbasket, capable of supporting a large, concentrated population. This agricultural surplus was the engine that powered their entire civilization. Think about how we measure time. 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. That's from them. The Sumerians developed a sexagesimal, or base 60 counting system. We still use it today not just for time, but also for measuring angles in a circle, 360 degrees. They were brilliant astronomers, meticulously charting the movements of the stars and planets. This wasn't just for curiosity. It helped them create a precise lunar calendar to predict seasons for farming and schedule religious festivals. And what about society and law? The Sumerians gave us one of the earliest known legal codes, the Code of Ur-Nammu. This wasn't just a list of harsh punishments. It was a sophisticated attempt to create justice and order in society, covering everything from property disputes to family law. It established the principle that society should be governed by written laws, not just the whims of a powerful ruler. This is a concept that forms the very foundation of modern legal systems. Their creativity also flourished in the arts. They created beautiful pottery, intricate jewelry from gold and lapis lazuli, and expressive sculptures. They crafted musical instruments like lyres and harps, and music was an integral part of their religious ceremonies and courtly life. Their art and stories reveal a complex spiritual world. They worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses who they believed controlled the forces of nature: the sky, the water, the sun. They believed humans were created to serve the gods, and their religious beliefs influenced every aspect of their daily lives, from farming to kingship. The king was seen as the god's representative on earth, a sacred duty to maintain order and prosperity. So what happened to these incredible pioneers? The story of the Sumerians is also a lesson in the rise and fall of civilizations. Their city-states were constantly at war with one another, which weakened them over time. Eventually, new groups of people, like the Akkadians led by Sargon the Great, began to move into the region. Around 2334 BCE, Sargon conquered the Sumerian city-states and created the world's first empire, the Akkadian Empire. Although Sumerian culture was largely absorbed and continued by their successors, the Sumerians as a distinct political and linguistic group gradually faded from history. Their language was eventually replaced, and the great cities of Sumer slowly crumbled into mounds of earth, their stories buried under the sand. For centuries, their existence was forgotten, known only through vague references in later texts like the Bible. It wasn't until the 19th century that archaeologists began excavating the mysterious mounds of Iraq and unearthed the ruins of Uruk and Ur. When they deciphered the cuneiform tablets, they rediscovered this lost world. They uncovered a civilization so advanced, so foundational, that it completely rewrote our understanding of human history. The Sumerians show us that civilization isn't a given. It's something that is built, piece by piece, through ingenuity, collaboration, and sheer human will. From the wheel and the plow to writing and the law, their contributions are the bedrock upon which all subsequent civilizations were built. They were the first to ask the big questions, the first to organize themselves into complex societies, and the first to write down their story. So the next time you write a note, check the time, or simply look up at a skyscraper, take a moment to remember the Sumerians, the people who, in many ways, started it all. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey back to the dawn of civilization. I hope you found it as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next historical adventure. Let me know in the comments what ancient civilization you'd like to explore next. Until then, stay curious.